Self-preservation is another of the universal consistents to be found amongst the sapient species of the galaxy. Or just most species in general, I guess. No matter your form, your origin, or the degree of sapience or self-awareness you might hold, everyone takes steps to exist just that little bit longer if they can. There are many ways to do so too. For most, self-preservation is reactive action, steps taken to avoid a sudden shortening of one's own life. Fleeing predation, sidestepping a thrown object, pulling out of the way of that one crazy driver, that kind of thing. It's the most straightforward interpretation and the easiest to explain, as it often refers to an individual and the choices they make. It can also be expanded on in a proactive form, steps taken in advance to avoid such situations in the first place. Think along the lines of not lingering where predators might be found, or carrying a fire extinguisher in your shuttle, despite the chance of ever needing it being astronomically low. Even plants will grow thorns in anticipation of fending off consumers. However, sometimes self-preservation is succession, or continuation of a family or species. Having a large number of offspring to ensure a percentage survive to maturity, spreading out beyond a single biome or localized area, sometimes even artificial backup copies of yourself in cyberspace. These actions, usually thought out in advance or deep set in biological function, reflect not the survival of the individual, but of the individual's bloodline, species, knowledge, technology, and even culture. Most variations of the concept depend on upkeep activities, good health practices, clean environment, medical intervention where necessary. You cannot flee predation if you are overweight and encumbered or too frail and underweight. You cannot take preventative steps if your thoughts are incapacitated by ill health or distraction. You cannot store your digital version on corrupting or insecure hardware. You cannot spread your leaves if your neighbour is blocking out the sunlight. There are many more variations of self-preservation, but they all ultimately come down to one thing. Applying logic to a situation, present or future, to enable existence to continue for longer than it would without reaction or intervention. So, what happens if you remove logic from the equation? Disaster, of course. The steps taken for self-preservation must be logically matched up against any opposition to danger. There is only one known exception to this. The Homo sapiens species, or humans as they are colloquially known. The logic of self-preservation still loosely applies to them. They are mortal beings, after all. What truly defines this species is their ability to survive misinterpretations of the concept that would be fatal to others. For a mixture of ruggedness and adaptability, they can endure errors of judgment that would fatally compromise the self-preservation of others, both personally and as a species, allowing them to develop in ways and places that are near mythical to other known life forms. Fail to flee a predator? Somehow the human in question survives by turning the situation on its head and becoming its family member. Airlock malfunction? So long as the human in question can repressurize fast enough, they will survive, albeit at the cost of some very painful injuries. Feeling down or sore? They can, and do, literally consume preservatives in the form of alcohols to pickle their innards in one of the most insane and literal interpretations of self-preservation. On a larger scale, humans will seek out particularly uninhabitable locations to colonize, thus protecting them for any potential competition that may arise from other life forms. By spreading far and wide, the loss of any of these settlements is mitigated on a species-wide level. Ultimately, all species of the known galaxy have a natural sense of the concept of self-preservation, and actively practice it for survival, with the exception of the humans. Sometimes, when it suits them.